All right. Just a second to see if everyone freshes up here. Yep, I think we did
On
it.
the job site,
Oh,
lead.
okay. I think we're live. Hey, what's up, everybody? Today's a little bit of a different format. I'm actually interested to see if you guys like this format. Let me down in the chat below. So today we're going to be doing meta talks. I actually have like some models I got to get built as I'm getting ready for a major this weekend. So there's been so many shakeups. I figured we'd hop on and talk about it. Oh wow, we already have a soup chat coming in from Mr. Davlos. He's been playing Raveguard with Kevin and Ethan. He's found it powerful and fun. My team captain wants me to stick to Wrath of the Rock. How do I reconcile this, bro? I think you're just in a good freaking position because, to be real with you, both of those detachments are pretty awesome. I think what you probably want to do is, if you're specifically tailored towards teams right now, is you want to define what role your captain wants you to take in the team's environment, right? Because Wrath of the Rock and the Talon Mark, I believe it's called, they actually serve very different roles. So Wrath of the Rock is going to be one of those lists that can basically go into anything, whereas your Talon Mark is going to be going to get more points, I'm pretty sure. So I think what you want to do is you want to sit down and define the role that you're working on, that your captain actually wants you to achieve in your team, and that'll basically define what you want to play. So thanks to everyone for hanging out. Right now I'm putting together some Inner Circle companions as I'm getting ready for this big major. It's the largest tournament that we have every year in Norway, and there is a golden ticket up for grabs, and it is my last opportunity to get myself a golden ticket this year. And I would like to go back to the World Championships. I missed out on one of my last opportunities because I ended up getting I lost in the finals for our last golden ticket event, and then we had one other event that I just was unable to attend. So it was a little annoying, but the guy who beat me, he got the ticket. He's an amazing player, and I'm excited to see him go as well. So no big problems with that. But we are totally working on some Inner Circle companions right now, because I got to get 6 of these put together and painted by geez, Friday, Friday morning, I guess, because I'm leaving on Friday morning. So yeah, man. We got some other people in chat here. Something you won't be afraid of. Dark Angels remain the same trash compared to other Marines. Listen, dude, hilariously, I think you're super wrong. Like 100% wrong. And I couldn't disagree with you more. I think Dark Angels are incredible right now. And they're in a very, very good place. I'll have a video out where I'm going to talk about this list that I'm building right now. Where I'm going to talk exactly about why I think Dark Angels are in a very good place. And we'll do that more later. How do I use Wrath to deal with knights or fast good gun good? Well, interestingly enough, well, hell, I'll just do it right now for you guys. This is supposed to be about meta, but I'll answer this question because he's awesome. So, how do I use Wrath to deal with knights or fast gun good? I either bounce off knights or the trees, speak elf, then I die. Well, listen, dude, if you're playing into knights, your ICC squad led by Azrael picks up a big knight. It's possible. I think they average like 25 damage, so you need to deal 1 damage in addition to what they do, which is okay. You throw grenades. Then if you're trying to kill elves, something I'm running, which a lot of people probably hate, but I'm running it right now. I'm running Desolation Marines because +2 strength on those Castellan launchers is a really big dang deal. Now they can just sit in my backfield and pick up an elf squad every single turn. That's kind of awesome. I gotta be honest with you. I think it's really really strong. Alex says that Grey Knights are the new meta. Alex, keep praying, bro. I don't think that's gonna be true, but but I think that you know I'm looking. I hope you get some truth to that. Maybe you get a little something if you want your freaking Grey Knights to be meta. I don't believe it's gonna work out that way, but maybe. Yeah. So when I'm looking at the meta right now. I am, and I would love to hear y'all's opinions. This is more of an open format here. I really think that we are kind of closing out on the super, super big stompies. Now, yes, Imperial Knights are really, really strong, and Chaos Knights are also quite strong. But once Imperial Knights lost the Feel No Pain, they became so much more easy to handle. It became way, way easier to handle because that's like effectively they lose 4 or 5 wounds, which means a lot more armies can actually handle them. Which takes us into a new kind of zone where it's easier to tech to big knights and you don't have to do only pure big knights. Guwanka says he must have rolled bad. He's never had ICC pick up a big knight. Well, I mean, I'm just doing the math right here. Especially when you're leading with Azrael. Now, this is with Azrael, right? So you got sustained hits and lethal hits with 4 rolls to hit, winning on 2s, and you actually do want to fish for crits in this scenario. Uh, and then you're winning on 5s. You're gonna come in at roughly 22 to 24 wounds, which is a very, very big deal. And then Azrael should finish him off. I do say you want to bias this. You want to throw grenades first or deal like 1 damage first, but that's the way it is. And honestly, at that point, you pick up a big knight. And remember, this is in the context of no more Feel No Pain. So if you were doing it in the previous, whenever there were Feel No Pains with the Noble Lance, then that just really won't work out super, super well for you. And of course, you wouldn't have killed him in that scenario. But this is with new knights, not old knights. So yeah. How do we... Yeah, this is the correct arm here. So yeah, so now that big knights are just easier to kill. Not easy to kill, but they're easier to kill. Now, I think we're going to run into some interesting decisions of how we're going to tech for metas, because we still got to prep for knights. But guys, if you're not prepping for elves, I think you're in for a very, very rude awakening. Elves are looking exceptionally spicy right now. They didn't get nerfs like we thought they would. So, and I'm not necessarily they definitely even super needed to kill elves either, mind you, or I'm sorry, needed to just destroy elves with nerfs. I'm not sure they needed to, but we expected them to do something to elves, and they didn't, which means elves are very prevalent, which means we have an MSU army that needs to be held. We need an MSU build that we really need to consider. And as, who said it? I think Trevor McDonald in the chat, what's up, Trevor? He just pointed out that we also have Dark Eldar on the rise, so I really think MSU is becoming a big deal. Now, interestingly enough, we're also seeing a return to elite infantry meta. Because one of the things that World Eaters do now, World Eaters just say, buy Knights, buy Chaos Knights, buy Imperial Knights, you guys don't get to play the game. And there are a lot of World Eaters in the meta. There's a lot of people who like World Eaters and are really excited to play World Eaters. The new Exalted 8-bound, I don't know if you guys have taken the time to really look at what the new Exalted 8-bound do. But a 3-man led by a Slaughterbound, 1-taps a big knight. And that is for a total package of, what is that, 150 plus 85 points. So you're looking at 225 points, is that right? So that's 225 points just to tap a big knight. That's a big problem for Knights players, which means it's possible. I'm not saying it's for sure, but it's actually possible we might see a decrease in the amount of Knights that are running around because they just can't play against World Eaters. And Elves are still really good into Knights. And Knights are just generally more vulnerable now. I'm not saying Knights aren't good. Knights are good, okay? But we are going to be seeing a little bit of a reduction of the amount of terror that the Knights have been holding on the battlefield. So I think that's really, really important that we keep that in mind as we're planning for the new meta. So we do understand that elite infantry is kind of back in the order. Because when you get in lots of these Exalted 8-bound, they're going to be all over the place. But you need to be able to counter them. So guess what else is good in the meta right now? Blood Angels are freaking amazing. Especially with the new Sanguinary Guard. Blood Angels are freaking awesome. And their Sanguinary Guard just got even better. I think Blood Angels are one of the best armies in the game right now. That's a big elite infantry army. Dark Angels are looking very, very spicy, especially in Wrath. That's going to be -1 to hit, -1 to wound, ICC. Stack that with -1 to wound, definitely nice. That might be -1 to be hit because the Raven Shroud or the Dark Shroud went down. So we're gonna see elite infantry hitting the board, and you need to be prepared for it. And then my last prediction here. I think we're probably going to see a return to Horde meta at a certain point. This is going to be a very, very strange moment in time to be a Warhammer 40k player because there's so many things going on. Because now that our Knights and stuff are, losing a little bit of power, Hordes are really interesting. Green Tide is about to get better. Not only Green Tide, but War Tide, running a bunch of boys in our just Warhorde, because now that Gaz can lead boys, that opens you up to running Gaz with boys and a War Boss with 20-man boys. So you can have 40 boys in Warhorde. We're gonna see some interesting things that are gonna pop up. Like, oh no, I dropped the head. Oh no, I dropped the head. How many times have you guys dropped freaking heads when you're gluing models? I hate hobbying. This is my least favorite part of the hobby. It's a hobby. So I think it's really, really interesting, and we're gonna have to figure out how do we take these armies that can handle bigs and can handle freaking elite infantry and can handle our hordes. Like, how many of you out there, if your army right now, if you ran into a like 60 boys list in orcs. How many of you could easily handle that? Honestly, not many of you. Some of you might say you could, but I don't think you've played 60 boys, especially when they're led by war bosses and pain boys and freaking Gazcool. That's a really interesting thing. So we're gonna see hordes on the table. So we're gonna have to be able to handle hordes. We're gonna have to be able to handle elite infantry, and we're gonna have to be able to handle big knights still, big sloppy robots. It's gonna change the composition of our armies. We're gonna have to start taking, which is kind of wild. So we really, really need to think about that. Hey, we got Mr. Mass Profect in the chat with a $5 super chat. What's up, man? He wants to know what we're building this morning. My guy, we are currently on some Inner Circle companions because I got a big major this weekend, and I'm going to be running them. And I'm actually really, really excited for it. So, yeah. So that's an interesting thing. I think we're going to have to, honestly, start working a little bit less on purely stat check builds and start focusing on more balanced builds that can handle different things. Like it's going to be really hard to get by if you're making armies that are built just to kill tanks or making armies that are built just to kill elites, because we're in a very different meta right now. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, this is interesting. So Alex says what I'm describing is probably why T-Suns got nerfed. They could handle the whole game the way the army rule functioned. You know, I've got a little bit to say about that, and I know some people are going to hate me for this, and it's okay. I still love you. I don't think the T-Suns nerfs were as bad as everyone's saying it is. They were bad. I'm not saying they were bad. They were, but I don't think they're nearly as defining as what everyone was making them out to be. When I see an army get seriously nerfed, I like to focus on 4 questions. And actually, those questions are going to be, all right, how many points changed? And what did I actually have to drop to keep my army list the same, right? Like, what did I really have to drop to keep my army list the same? That's an important question I think we really should ask ourselves. So how much do I need to drop to make sure my army stays the same? Does this require me remaking my list? Because my points dropped by, I don't know, 80 points. Maybe I could drop an 80-point unit and just keep the same thing. Let's say it dropped too much and I have to remake my list. Okay, do I have to remake my list? Cool. We'll go back to the drawing stage. We'll remake our list. Most of our Grand Coven list don't need to remake their list. They just need to drop a unit. That's basically the truth. Now, then you ask yourself, what rules changes can we play around? And one of the rules changes for 1,000 Suns that you can actually very, very much so play around is the new army ability, which I admit is worse. I'm not saying it's not worse. I'm not saying it wasn't overdone. I do think it was overdone as well. But you can play around it. So now you can't recast a failed attempt. All right, you can't recast a failed attempt. Got it. That means you really need to prioritize who casts what first. That means you need to prioritize where am I going to spend my CP to re-roll the cast attempts if I'm playing Grand Coven. That means you need to prioritize, okay, I have to have my re-rolls. That means Magnus must be the one casting the re-rolls. It just adds a little more planning to the army. And I know some people are saying, oh, it's too casino. I don't think it's too casino. That's okay. We're allowed to disagree. It does add a little bit more planning to the army, though. So there's that. I think you just plan for that the army rules work so that you can't just willy-nilly cast anymore. You have to plan for it. And then if you can't outplay the rules change, then that's more of a problem. But this isn't an example of where you can't outplay the rules change. It's just not one of those examples. So I don't think T-Suns are going to be nearly as beat up as people say they are. I do believe they definitely got hit. Yeah. I see some people talking about how Ultramarines are looking good. I think Ultramarines are fine. I think Ultramarines are not required, though. Like, I think Dark Angels are in an amazing place. I think Blood Angels are an incredible place. I think Space Wolves are in a really good place. I think Black Templars are in a psychopathic place. So I think there's tons of ways that you could be playing this game right now, and not really just having to be worried about just playing your vanilla Marines. Chris Todd, hey Johnny, do you think a 10x2 Sanguinary Guard might be worth it in the list? So you can't do 10x2 Sanguinary Guard. You can only take them in squads of 6, or 3 or 6. But I definitely think there is possibilities, and this is maybe a hot take, and I haven't put it on the table yet, so take that for what it's worth. There is a world where we might be able to play the Angelic Host, which is really fascinating to me, because now that our Sanguinary Guard can be kind of run by themselves, they don't have to have a character, even though they went, because they hit on 2's base now, even though they went up in points cost a little bit, they don't have to have a character, which is a very, very, very big deal for me. So I might actually be able to squeeze in a angelic host army, which could be dope. I need to play around. I'm not sure. Heyo, this is from Jabba King Tut. Heyo, love the channel. Really helped me improve my game. First live I'm tuning into. Hey man, thanks for joining in. I really appreciate you. Is there any good spots to watch full competitive matches on? That's tough, man. That's tough. I know Vizsla. So if you know the channel Vizsla, it's a Swedish channel, but they do stream in English a lot of times. So shout out to them. I'm a big, really like the owner of that company. So shout out to them. You can sometimes catch some really good competitive matches there. We do our coaching streams on this channel all the time, and that's always an amazing place to get access to, like the player's thought process during the game. So think about that. The new Raven Guard may open up some pretty excellent non-Gladius options. Looks like attachment with high skill floor, though. Yeah, dude, Alex, I completely agree with that, man. I think that new detachment, and by the way, anyone who says that they don't get +1 to wound, it will get +1 to wound. This is the same scenario that it was with the Forge Fathers, Seekers, or whatever. Look at that. I made a model. Very cool. Where they didn't get it initially, but they will get it. It'll just have to be popped in FAQ. No big deal. I think there is a very interesting way to play that. I love the idea of running freaking Centurion Devastators in that squad, in that army. I love the idea of running freaking Cave on Strike, or Keith and Ethan Shan. Keith and Ethan. I love running them together. You can always, rapid ingress him or you can rapid ingress or Cave on Strike with a squad of Vanguard veterans. I would give them like 8 freaking Inferno pistols and 2 guys with shields. 12 inches away from the enemy, so that in your turn, you can then move them up. They're Phobos, so they get to advance, shoot, and charge. Blast with 8 freaking Inferno pistols, throw grenades, charge, murder whatever the heck you charged. Blah, blah, blah. It's actually really disgusting what you can do with that detachment. I really like it. Yeah. Yeah, some of the guys are also saying Wargames Live is a good place to catch competitive matches. I love Wargames Live. I'm a big fan of Joe. I think he's the best streamer in the business. The reason why I didn't say Wargames Live is because you never really know what you're going to get on Wargames Live. You don't know the quality of the players. We've seen some incredible matches, and then we've seen some just real big head scratchers on there. So and it has nothing to do with Joe. Like, Joe is just incredible at his job. It's just that you don't know who's going to be playing on stream. So that's why I didn't initially say Wargames Live. Matt R wants to know why I moved to Norway. Bro, I met some hot Norwegian chick, and I had to come marry her. And now I have a child with her, and it's really awesome, and we're planning our move back to the United States, because we miss the States, because I love the States. Danton Sukin. You sound like a Bleach fan. Are you a Bleach fan? I'm a huge Bleach fan, by the way. Hey, man, I'm an AOS player, mainly. Kind of fell out of love with 40k, but your Blood Angels content has helped push me back in. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think Blood Angels are one of the best armies in the game right now. I think they're super strong. I was really debating, do I bring my Blood Angels or my Dark Angels to the Major this weekend? The reason why I'm bringing Dark Angels and not Blood Angels is very specifically that at the tournament I'm going to be at, we are using WTC terrain with Games Workshop layouts. And what that means is I very specifically get to make use of plunging fire. So I'm going to take a Desolation Squad, Desolation Marines in my Wrath of the Rocket list. They get +2 to strength for my stratagem, so they're now wounding elves on 2s. I get +1 AP from plunging fire, and they remain stationary, which means they're ignoring cover. So that is specifically why I'm running Dark Angels here, and I think the Lion is incredible into the new meta. He just full stop counters Death Guard. He full stop puts a huge block on World Eaters. He's such a big problem for so many of the big meta threats right now that that's really where I am on Dark Angels. It's also really good into your Chaos Knights and your Imperial Knights, because he just runs up and he says blah, and by himself he's going to put 20 wounds onto an Imperial Knight. If you're playing into Infernal Lance, they put up 5 invuln, so maybe he puts 16 instead of 20. Okay, but combine that with a little bit extra from your army, and dude, you're really hurting those big stompy bots. So he's good into big stompy bots. He's really good into a lot of other things. I think the Lion's eating good right now, and that's really one of the reasons why I'm stuck on Dark Angels for now. So, Any love for Ballista Dreadnought with points increase? All right, Ballista Dreadnoughts. This is actually a really interesting question. So this is from Alasdair Gardner. Alasdair? That's an interestingly cool name. Ballista Dreadnoughts. I think I'm not taking them with an exception. The reason why I would take them is twofold. I would take them if I had exactly 150 points left over. I would also take them specifically in the new Raven Guard detachment, because in Talonmark, just having 3 ballistas, none of which ever need Oath because they get to reroll hit rolls natively, and they just get to stand out into the middle of nowhere and just continuously blast and blast and blast and blast and blast. That's so powerful, where they're now -1 to be hit, cover in the middle of nowhere, don't need Oath of Moment support. That's awesome. That's so strong and so valuable that I think, I think I would take them in that detachment. And I would happily take them in that detachment. So Froll says, what do I think is stronger now, Black Templars or World Eaters? I think it's World Eaters. I think Black Templars are great, don't get me wrong. But I think it's World Eaters. I think World Eaters are gonna... I want to say they're the best right now. I can't actually say that because we need results. But my suspicion is that World Eaters are just a massive problem for effectively everyone in the game right now. Like, that 20-man unit... Alright, so bear with me here. I'm gonna cook. Freaking run... Well, what's his name? Lord Invocatus with 20 Berserkers that gives them Deep Strike. And then you can rapid ingress a 20-man blob of Berserkers using the Deep Strike anywhere on the battlefield. And then you could just advance and charge them and just 100% murder anything in the game. It is disgusting how powerful that is. It is brutal how mighty and powerful that is. So, yeah, dude, World Eaters got some stuff. World Eaters got some serious juice right now to squeeze. And I'm actually really excited for my World Eater friends. I do think that you just drop the Forge Fiends. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't go back to the Forge Fiends at some point, but I think you drop them for now, and you try to play without them. What do I think of Leagues of Votann? Dude, I think Leagues of Votann are like the definition of vanilla. I think they are just good. And if you want an army that's always going to function well, I think League of Votann is your army. They don't break the meta. They're just good. They're just generally good in basically all scenarios. They can play basically any way you want them to play. I don't think... I would never consider Leagues of Votann for when I am tailoring my list for a tournament. I just wouldn't be worried about it. So I wouldn't really consider Leagues of Votann as a particular problem outside of, hey, this person plays good Warhammer, they're going to be good with Leagues of Votann. But it's not like something I would really want to address in the list building stage. So, and actually in my major, we do have our first round of releases right now. I'm playing Need Guard in my first round. So I'm actually brushing up on my freaking Leagues of Votann knowledge right now to make sure I do a good job against them. We got Julian Guillermo Adarme. I'm sure I butchered that, but I do love your name. I love trying. What about the Primarch tier list? Has there any changes? Dude, I think the Lion is just straight up the best right now. I know people like, they think I'm stupid, whatever. I don't care. I think the Lion is just straight up, bar none, the best Primarch right now. Guys, you can rapid ingress this nerd with either a Feel No Pain aura or a reroll 1s to hit and wound aura, so that when your opponent charges into my Deathwing Knights, I heroic with the Lion, I fight first, and then my entire unit gets reroll hit and wound rolls of 1. That is so powerful. It's so brutally strong. Or what if you're like charging into my vehicles? I just heroic down in my vehicles, give my vehicles a fort Feel No Pain if you're going to shoot them with Haywire. Like, it's just so brutal, guys. The Lion is such a pimp. It's awesome, actually. Like, it's legit awesome. What the heck's this guy's head? When sprues don't include heads, that's always awesome. I think if I email the judge of my tournament, I say my sprue just didn't come with a head, they'll show me mercy, as long as I paint the rest of the model. That's annoying. Emperor's True Finest would put the beat down on all of them. The True Finest being the Blood Angels, right, Master Effect? You sexy man. Jan Nemans wants to know, how can I get ICC battle ready for this weekend if today they are still on this brew? Oh, well, this is a very, very easy to answer question. I do not care what my models look like. These are toys for me. They are not works of art. Now, that doesn't mean I don't appreciate beautiful models. I absolutely do. But I don't enjoy the hobby aspect of the hobby. I really, really like the gaming aspect. So I'll have them ready. And people will probably talk crap about my paint job, and that's okay with me. I accept that. So that's how I'll have them ready. Man, so Johnny Pop Tart wants to know, do I think On Foot Death Company is worth using? No, I just don't, man. They're just so bad, bro. Like, how are you going to use them? Like, a 10-man squad, you have to take a Land Raider for it. Like, they have the Tactics keyword, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let me check. I think they've got the Tactics keyword. I don't want to say something really stupid right now, so I should check on that. But they have the Tactics keyword. That means you can't put them in a Rhino. They got to go in a freaking Land Raider. So, like, how the heck do you ever get them anywhere? It just seems... It's just... And then they have to be attacked before they even get a rule. It just seems straight up bad, dude. Death Company Marines. All right, Death Company Marines on foot. Yeah, dude, they're Taxicus. So, like, the only transport you can put them in is the freaking, it's the stupid whatever. So, yeah, no, I think they're awful. I think it's a terrible choice. God bless you, though, if you want to try it. If you want to try to make them work, I would love to hear. I would love to hear that I'm just wrong and you're 100% correct about everything. That'd be awesome. Darkja. Hey, Darkja, what's up, man? I really enjoy you. I really love your comments. You always get really good, thoughtful comments in the section, so I really appreciate it. I don't know. I've played against the 20 Zerkers blob plus Avocado. It was never that great for my opponent. Too big footprint. Maybe a top player can make it work. On average, it's mid. Agree to disagree. I think it's incredible. Foot DC are just too slow. Yeah, bro, I completely agree with you. Now, all right, Jeremy Kelly. Now, this guy has asked a question. How do we feel about orcs competitively now? My guy, I think orcs have a lot of competitive builds where they're going to be just fine. I do not think that they are going to be a massive issue in the meta. But if you don't consider the fact that orcs exist, I think you're going to be in for a world of hurt. I think you're going to be in a massive world of hurt. So just like cook with me, because one of the things I really want to look at is I want to look at revisiting Bully Boys now, because in Bully Boys I could run Gaz with 20 boys. Now they don't get to benefit from the strats in that detachment, but that's 2 turns of +1 hit, of crits on 5s with lethals on the boys that my opponent really just can't avoid. Meanwhile, with the points reduction on the Warboss and Mega Armor and on your Mega Knobs, I could still run 3 big squads of Mega Knobs. I think I want to revisit our Bully Boys. I'm not sold on it, but I really want to revisit it. And I think Warhorde is just very reasonable now. Now, I do know some people are messing around even with Beast Boss on Squigosaurus. I would go look at the Big Hunt, but for whatever reason, they didn't address the problem with Squigglehog Boys, which is an issue. So that's just an issue. Yeah, and unfortunate. Yeah. I like Forge Father Seekers from HSEP. Okay, Forge Father Seekers looks pretty good. We've got some guys in the Discord now who are actually Salamander specialists, and that's a breath of fresh air. I actually really like having Salamander specialists hanging out. I always like rubbing their faces in it that I have better flamers in Dark Angels and Blood Angels, because I don't care who you are. If you are playing Blood Angels and you're not running freaking Ball Predators, you're wrong. There's nothing better than putting your red hot balls on the table and just burning your opponent up. Those Ball Predators are the best units in our freaking codex. Although I do have a really, really spicy solo character I'm running now. If you guys haven't done it, seriously, you should run the solo Death Company Captain with Jump Pack with Rage Fueled Warrior. For 110 points, this dude runs out and hits as hard as a full Death Company unit. And then then you don't care about battle shocking him either, because you know he's a suicide unit. So he runs in, deals like, it's so much damage, because you're going to give him lethal and you're going to give him lance, because you don't care that he battle shocks. And if he doesn't, so he kills a war dog by himself. And then if he doesn't kill the unit that he attacks into, he'd still deal 16, 18 damage. And then he blows up when they kill him, and he might kill them with the blow up. It's so powerful. I love the solo Rage Fueled Warrior Death Company Captain. It's awesome. and it's just easier to use than the foot captain because you don't need the impulsor to transport them. So the package is so much cheaper. I just love that. So if you guys haven't tried it, seriously, give it a freaking whirl. It'll open your eyes up. It'll open your eyes up. I think it's mad and just absolutely amazing. Yeah, basically, I would choose that. I would do that. Sanguinary Guard are great. Yeah, they went up in points. I really wish the 6-man hadn't gone up as much as it had, but hitting on twos is really nice. Dante is not dead. People who say that Dante's dead, they're wrong. Dante is not dead. What is different about Dante is that now we don't have to bring Dante. That's the difference. All right, but if you guys have ever done a coaching with me, or if you've ever seen me play, one of the things I do is I take Dante and 6 Sanguinary Guard, and I stage them in the Central Ruin, and I probably just don't use them for 2 to 3 turns. And the reason why I do that is because it makes my opponent have to be concerned about my 19-inch plus, and then charge at +1 threat range that I could just pop off at any moment. That's a very big issue for your opponents. That's a huge problem for your opponents to have to deal with. Like, when you get rid of Dante, you get rid of that threat range. But what we can do now is we can also run Dante with, say, a bunch of Vanguard veterans, or even JPI, which gives us another super fast unit that can just go murder the crap out of something for a lot cheaper. I really don't hate that. I gotta be honest, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. It's pretty nice. Oliver Rikila, or oh, you're Finnish. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Is it an O or a O? What minis am I building? I'm building ICC right now, my guy. So I gotta get these guys painted. I also gotta get 5 Deathwing Knights painted. I got them built though, so I don't have to build them, which is really nice. Yeah, so Smash Captain wants to know, would it be better to run Dante and Van Vets? It's something I'm really considering right now, my guy. I think it's a really interesting question. So definitely a question worth asking, that's for sure. I'm not going to go with said either way yet, but I'm going to try it out. It's just so much cheaper, and it still hits incredibly hard. Especially if I'm right and we're going to start seeing like hordes pop up. If I'm right and we're seeing hordes pop up, you better believe it. By the way, if you guys like this format, do me a favor, hit the like button. I see we only got a couple likes here right now. If you could hit the like button, that'd be cool, because that would send this out there. That'd be really sick. This is the first time I've done this kind of like just hobby and chat format. So give me a shout about that if you like it. If you don't like it, tell me that too, because then I won't do it again. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. Feedback's important though. What do I think of Grey Knights at the minute? Dude, Grey Knights are in a really interesting place. If I'm correct, and I believe I'm correct, if I'm correct that Grey Knights, or I'm sorry, about my idea of how the meta is going to turn out, where I think we're going to need less anti-tank, because Knights are just more fragile now. I think we're going to need more anti-elite, because we're going to see a lot more elites now, and we're probably more likely to see more hordes. If I'm correct about all of that, man, Grey Knights are going to be great. This weekend, they're probably going to do bad, and the next few weekends, they're also going to be bad. But if the meta develops the way I'm thinking it's going to develop, I believe we're going to see some incredible stuff for Grey Knights. I know one of my dudes, one of my guys, and we were trying to predict what the meta was going to look like for our super major this weekend, or major this weekend in Norway. We were wrong. So we gambled on Grey Knights. It might have been a mistake, but we're going to find out. Because we still have like the old Knights to deal with for this weekend, right? But I think Grey Knights could be very good. You've got Crowfires, which will delete any elite infantry, elite squad in the game. You've got Crowfires, which can just go pick up a big knight or get really close to it, because they now reroll wound rolls on objectives as well. You've got Purgation squads that can 6-inch deep strike and blast. You've got, honestly, one of the things I really like is the Brotherhood Champion. Just go running solo with the, what's it called? The enhancement that causes him to do mortals. I forget the name of it. Something mantle. Either of them solo, have him shoot out, have him go assassinate a freaking Technomancer, get it out of the Wraith squad, and then you don't have to worry about how you're going to kill those Wraiths again. It's freaking awesome. It's so good. It's so interesting. So, yeah. Um, Danny wants to know if my thoughts on the buffs to Exalted 8-bound. Dude, bro, real talk. All right, okay, let's do a little bit more about World Eaters, because we spoke about World Eaters. I did like the 20-man blob, but there's more to talk about with World Eaters. Let's do that real fast. A 3-man unit of Exalted 8-bound picks up most lighter tanks in the game, and a lot of your medium tanks. A 3-man unit led by a Slaughterbound picks up any big knight or any big vehicle in the game. Then, what you look at is you go, I could run 2 squads of X8-bound and 3 squads of just normal 8-bound, and I could run 3 Slaughterbound solo. If you're playing into Elves or something where you need lots of activations, just run those freaking Slaughterbound solo, because at 85 points, at freaking 85 point Slaughterbound, this dude is going to run out and absolutely murk anyone. This guy's going to have, what is it, a 10 attacks at strength 12, AP 2, damage 2, devastating wounds. For 85 points, he's going to be oh my gosh, he trades up so well. So you can run just 3 solo Slaughterbound, or if you're running into something that you need more hunting power, you attach them. So I love the idea of solo characters in World Eaters right now. World Eaters are just so well positioned. Now we do have a super chat from Mr. Gabriel. Ooh. All right, Gabriel, bear with me. I'm going to try this, all right? I'm going to butcher it, but I'm trying. Gabriel Fakuar Baltazar. Hopefully that was close-ish. Sick name. I'm sure I didn't do it full justice, though. So he wants to know my opinion on EC and where they sit in the meta. Does EC still take dedicated anti-tank? I don't think you really have dedicated anti-tank in EC. If by that you mean the Mauler Fiend, I would probably get rid of the Mauler Fiend if I were you. I don't think the Mauler Fiend is really, really where you need to be sitting. I think Flawless Blades are such a huge, huge addition to the roster, now that Flawless Blades get the extra attack. Because previously, the only real trading units you had was, I always forget if it's the Tormentors or the other one, so I'm just going to say Tormentors. I know there's 2 of them. Just whatever, the melee one. Tormentors and the Lord Exultant. That was like a 165-ish point package that you would have to go trade in and out for killing things. Now you can trade in your 110 point Flawless Blades unit with a 2-up armor save, meaning that they can't just be easily, annihilated on the backswing. So I really think your EC loved that change. I think it was much bigger than people were giving it credit for. It's not that Flawless Blades are such an incredible unit. It's that for that army, now they have those Flawless Blades to go and do serious freaking work. Not to mention, if you run Lucius with Exalted or with Flawless Blades, what's the math on that? You might actually be able to pick up a knight with that. Or at least come pretty close. Because Lucius would then also be able to wound them on 3s, which is really, really, really sick. Yeah. Do you think GW messed up and didn't cast a Slaughterbound can get up to 4 damage? No, they didn't mess up. I think because World Eaters are still going to suffer from the fact that they don't have any shooting, right? The Forge Fiends going up was very correct, and I think they're going to be priced at a point where you're just going to have to drop the Forge Fiends. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but I think it's just the honest truth. You're going to have to give them up. And I think that's going to keep them relatively balanced, especially on like GW terrain. On WTC terrain, World Eater is going to be a real big problem, my guys. Real big problems. Yeah. So, thoughts on Eldari? Yeah, I think Eldar are pretty amazing. I think Eldar is such one of those armies that like you get gaslit on Eldar all the time, right? Because Eldari players are going to tell you if they get 5 more points increased, then the army is useless and they can't play and it's bullshit. But they're lying. Well, they're not lying. They're just wrong, right? Like, Eldar is so good, and they have so many things where it's like, it's so good. They're just so good, man. So, I don't know. I always feel like whenever people talk about Eldar, it's just, you're just being gaslit about them. In general. I'm mainly joking, but I'm a little serious when I say that. So I think Eldar are just amazing right now. They're in a great place. There's not many armies that can handle the MSU build right now, which is one of the reasons why I'm actually really strongly considering Desolation Marines again. I mean, Desolation Marines they shut Eldar down, and even though they are super overcosted, in Wrath of the Rock, I can get 2 Oath of Moment targets. So I can kill my first with the Desolation Marines and then swap to something else for another for the other unit to get Oath of Moment. And Desolation Marines do kill a 5-man squad, especially when I'm winning on 2s, because I can give them +2 strength in the Wrath of the Rock. So that's what I think about Eldari. They're real strong. We've got what AdMech should field in the new meta. I think AdMech, dude, you're going Hunter Clade. You're doing the Halo Screed, the Grotmist detachment, and you've got Belisarius Call, who can just give stealth to your entire army now. They're gonna be so happy. Like, you should be thrilled if you're one of the if you're an AdMech player right now. I think you're in one of the first actually decent positions that you've been in all edition. So, oh man, this is the wrong arm. Oh no, what have I done? Oh no. Oh no, I was a silly boy. I put this together stupidly. Damn, how do I save this? How do I save it? Here we go, that's how I save it. Swap it out. Swap it out. Sorry guys, I gotta look at this real fast. I was stupid. Okay, oh, we got a nice little super chat here from Mr. Let's Go! Sorry if I make you repeat, but is AdMech now meta? Definitely not meta, my guy. I appreciate the super chat, by the way. It means the world to me. Because of people like you guys, I put food on the table for my little girl, and that's awesome. She's out there sleeping right now, and she's a little angel. So, really, from the bottom of my heart, I greatly appreciate all the support you guys give out. Yeah, so I think AdMech are in a great place. I don't think enough people have experience running AdMech well that they're going to become meta, though. If that makes sense. Damn it. Did I do that wrong as well? So I don't think we're going to have to be too scared of them, basically. But they're very strong. If you're a dedicated AdMech player, man, you got some serious play, bro. I don't know if you guys caught the stream where I did it with Shettle, but you can have the Jazz Hand dudes, and they're popping out like over 50 hits because they're getting lethals and sustain on 5s with full rerolls to hit. Oh my god, they're just murdering things. They're murdering big knights, which is absolute heresy in my opinion. Why would they be able to murder big knights? Well, because they can, and screw you, and that's why. Oh jeez, I shouldn't be allowed to talk sometimes. Okay, so I did save this model, by the way. We've got, have you mentioned the power strength 10 on the Riptide? Warhammer? Oh, Mr. Will. Hey, bro. Dude, strength 10 on Riptide means Tau is back in business, I think. That's another reason why I think we're going to see a reduction of the big knights that we're seeing in the game right now. Because big knights are freaking amazing, but dude, the little knights are getting stomped on with all the, like, we got strength 10 from the Riptides. You got World Eaters coming out, ripping them. Dude, I think knights are just in a... while they're very, very good, I don't think they're anywhere near what people are wanting to say they are. So, yeah, that's just basically all I have to say about that. How do I do this one? Okay, let's do the next part. Really hard to balance, especially on mid tables. In my opinion, it's weird. Any Custode play? Dude, I think Custodians just suck. It really hurts my feelings. I think it's the worst codex they put out this entire edition. Yes, they're playable. They've got some gameplay, but they're so freaking boring. I just can't be inspired to even try with them right now. They're just the most boring army in the entire edition. Like, no flavor. And especially with an edition that's going to start teching for your freaking elites again. I don't think it is, man. I don't think it is. Let's go! $14 for the sleeping little girl. Bless you, man. That's amazing. That's so sweet of you. I really, really, really appreciate that. That's everything in the freaking world. Oh, you're super generous. Appreciate you so much. Taladel, is that from? No, that was Tarmriel from Seven Deadly Sins. I was like reading people's names and being like, all right, where are they? Are they from freaking? Or what are they? What types of anime fans are y'all? I'm rewatching Seven Deadly Sins right now because I don't care what people say. I love Seven Deadly Sins. I don't care if it's Netflix trash. It's awesome Netflix trash. Have a blast with it. Okay, so Taladel wants to know what's going on with Tal. There's a guy in my local group that smacks the crap out of everyone, but seems to not doing well in tournaments. I don't know if that's a Tau issue. A lot of times when you hear things like that, one of the things you got to be careful of is your opponent playing correctly? Because if your opponent is playing correctly, he should be getting those results in tournaments as well. and this is not like to accuse anyone of anything, but many times you'll get results, odd sounding results like this. But the reality is that the person who's putting up the results in casual play is playing incorrectly, and that happens sometimes. And I don't I don't want to slander the guy. They can be honest mistakes, but that's a thing that happens. How do we feel about the Redemptor Dreadnought 195? If you're right about more elites, they could be great at +2 save. Ah, bro. There's one place where I'm going to run a Redemptor Dreadnought. All right, everyone, bear with me. This is cool. I'm cooking here, okay? In Unforgiven Task Force for the Dark Angels, I can run a Redemptor Dreadnought inside a Storm Raven with Azrael with 10 Hell Blasters, or even Stern Guard. Stern Guard work as well. And then I could also put a Tech Marine in there. Turn 1, I move that entire unit. I start Azrael on the board so that I get all of my my bonus CP. I hop into the Storm Raven, then I move myself 20 inches away, drop off a freaking Redemptor Dreadnought with a lone opt, in quotations mark, Tech Marine right next to him. Then I've got 2 T10 -1 damage in cover units with a lone up on it that my opponent's gonna have to be able to destroy turn 1. If they don't destroy it turn 1, they're just completely boned. That's disgusting. So I do kind of like the Redemptor there, because in that unit that's coming out, whether it's gonna be Stern Guard or Hellblasters with Azrael, when they come out, they're gonna have both sustained and lethals due to your strat. And if you happen to have anything in your army that is battle shocked, you're gonna be critting on 5s. Anything that dies will then shoot back with a strat as well, because they die on hazardous. And then you've got another stratagem that when they shoot your Hellblasters, then you just shoot back. So it's like, you can activate the shooting of that unit, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times in a single battle round. It's kind of crazy. Jan Perkins, ooh, wow. Jan Burzweski. Ooh, sorry, dude, that was not right, I know. Hey, what do you think about orcs now? What will the meta look like? I think orcs are fine, man. If you rewind a little bit, we spoke a little bit about them. I think they've got some really interesting new builds that they could run at. I think it's really cool. Yeah, United Wargamer, we did talk about some Sanguinary Spears. Now, weirdly enough, I do think the Spears make me consider Angelic Inheritors more. I think Angelic Inheritors might be better than the Liberator Assault Group. Liberator Assault Group is still what I'm going to play, because that's where my heart is. But I think we might have crossed the threshold where Angelic Inheritors is just straight up a little bit better now, which hurts my soul. But I also believe it's true. So that's my take on the Spears and the weapon skill too. Canela Magno wants to know, what would it need to change to bring the Stompa into the meta? It needs to drop by about 400 points. That's what needs to change to bring the Stompa into the meta, my guy. I dropped a piece. Well, it's gone forever. Oh well. That piece, no. Oh, there it is. I found it. So that's what I think needs to happen with the Stompa, which hurts my soul because I love Stompa. If you can't do that as well, can't you do that as well with Ironstorm Ultramarines, Calgar instead of Azrael? Yeah, man, you can build something very similar with that. But I don't like Ultramarines, so I'm not going to. And I love the Lion. I think the Lion's freaking awesome, so that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, totally, man. You can definitely run something similar. Of course, Calgar is way more expensive than Azrael, so it's different. But instead of running Desolation Marines, you would also do it with a Whirlwind and just give them the lethals and the +5, the lethals and sustained with crits on 5s. So it's gonna come out to being roughly the same thing. 3 Lancers for anti-tank is overkill? Probably. I'm running 2. I do think the Lancers are still amazing. I think they're the best solo tanks in the game, because you don't need Oath of Moment. And if you guys know anything about the way I play the game, I want Oath of Moment to be a convenience, not something that I need to have. So there's that. Golden God has a $10 super chat. Bless you, man. Thank you so much for that. That means the freaking world. I might be able to get more ICC, because I desperately want to run 18 ICC in a Wrath of the Rockless. So that's what I'm going to be building for. Regarding Flawless Blades, what is the best way to protect them after activating? They die relatively easy, and we don't have typical 60-point swings. You can't. They're going to die. They go and murder something. Your opponent has to activate something relatively significant into them, and then you get to kill the next thing. They are strictly a trading piece. There's no way you can protect them, which is unfortunate, but it is the way it is, man. Sometimes, like, I do this with orcs, right? I know for a fact that when I'm playing my orcs, when I send my unit in, it's going to die next turn. If it doesn't die, bonus, but I have to account for that in my planning. My accounting is that my unit dies after I dedicate it. So if I were you, I would think of my flawless blades the same way that you would think of like your Lord Exultants and Tormentors or whatever they're called. You think of them in the exact same way. They're one-shot missiles, and the only way that your opponent doesn't get to kill them on the swingback is if they have too many things they have to kill. Which is why we talk about things like go turns, right? A go turn is when you dedicate almost everything. Because if you give your opponent, I don't know, 500 points of your army, they're going to kill 500 points of your army. But a lot of times, depending on how they're positioned and how you're positioned, if you give your opponent 2,000 points of your army, they might still only kill 500 points of your army, which gives you the ability to then hit them with 1,500 points of your army. So that is a very valid method of playing Warhammer. So don't get it twisted. Diva Fever. I have 10,000 points of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, but no friends. Man, I would love to play Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I actually think it looks like a total blast. I think it looks really, really cool. But Warhammer 40k is just such a really, really good competitive game that this is where my heart is. You know, I left to go play Age of Sigmar for a little while, back in Age of Sigmar 3, and I had so much fun with it. I thought it was super, super fun. I didn't leave 40k. I just needed a break after WTC and World Championships and everything. And I had so much fun. But man, it was sucked as a competitive game. Like, it just struck me as a terrible competitive game, and I just didn't want to stay there. So I didn't. And I came back to 40k. Came back to 40k. KR Quintero, 30 Custodian Guard, 30 Vigilators, 20 Prosecutors, Shield Captain Alea to Casey, I don't know what Casey is. 1995 points of talons. Yeah, bro, hope you have fun with that, because it's not going to be very good. But I hope you have a blast running it. Weedo, love the content. Do you have a hot take for this potential? Since you're in Devastator Squad in WOR detachment for -1 to win and +2 strength. Bro, I was so close to bringing that this weekend. I really, really was. On GW terrain specifically, I think that's actually very good, because you have a T7, 2-up armor save, -1 to be wounded, strength 14, and more importantly than strength 14 lascan, you get strength 11 on your missile launchers. I think it's disgusting. So that Centurion Devastator Squad, I've got 3 in my closet. I need to get them painted now. They actually are built. So I think I'm going to go ahead and build them. Wrath of the Rock Detachment, I think that squad is pretty awesome. Yeah, so I'm actually totally on board with it. And since they're 165, they basically just replace your Lancer. I definitely see it. I completely understand the idea, and I'm with you on that one. So, good eye. Good eye. Thank you for helping me become a better player. Your advice. Oh, Johnny Potter, man, it's my pleasure. Listen, guys, the entire point of this channel, let me get real with you. Here's what I did. I'm going to tell you why I started this channel, and people are going to spread bullshit about this, so don't spread any nonsense about this. But here's why I started this channel. I love the Art of War guys, and I thought they did a great job talking about becoming a better player. But what I found is when I was watching their videos, I found they weren't great teachers, and this is no shade on them. I found that at least their channel wasn't great teachers, and they kept a lot of their actual teaching, and they do a good job of teaching, but they do it behind their paywalls. Their normal channel is more like tier lists and all this stuff like this. So they would talk about what you should do, but they wouldn't show you how to do it. So move blocking, for example, they would say, yeah, you can move block, and this is a great time to move block, but they wouldn't show someone how to move block. That's why I started this channel. It's like, okay, cool. So I'm going to teach people how to actually do those things. So I love the Art of War guys. That was no shade show thrown on them at all. That's just they were just the inspiration for me to start this channel, and it's been a blessing for how big it's grown. So I really appreciate them. They've actually been really supportive too. So I love those guys. But that's why I started. So I'm really, really happy to hear that you're becoming better in the local meta, and you're just leveling up your game, because I want us to understand that this is a hyper competitive game that has some very, very real dudes. I'm about to do a stream with a founder of Lifehack. Or, I'm sorry, of DreamHack, forgive me. And we're going to talk about where Warhammer is going competitively. Your minds are going to be blown. Your minds are going to be absolutely blown. I 100% believe we're going to have, people who make a full-time living playing Warhammer. It's kind of crazy where this game's going to go. Mass Brofect, need a break from 40k? Give Warcraft 3 a try for a while. I've been having some fun there. You can finish a pretty competitive game in 30 minutes. Bro, I love Warcraft 3. I'm a big fan of it. I think Warcraft 3 was super, super fun. I just still pissed off at Blizzard because they never made Warcraft 4. Assholes. What play style goes? What was that question? Jordan Gregory's asking me which play styles go into each type of terrain the best. You can't answer that question. That's a question that's unanswerable because every single play style works on every single terrain. What I can answer off this is what types of models do well on what terrain. So Centurion Devastators, for example, can be very good on GW terrain where they suck on WTC terrain. The reason for this is that with their 4 inches of movement, they really just need to get in a firing lane and stay there. But on WTC terrain, it tends to be a lot easier to avoid firing lanes. So there you go. Think of it like that. Fast moving stuff tends to be a lot better on WTC. Your stuff that needs to sit down tends to be, or wants to sit in lanes, is going to be better on GW trains. Melee is probably a little bit better on WTC, but it's still pretty dang good on GW train as well. What are you supposed to run 8-bound into? They feel mid compared to Exalted. Well, 8-bound are 135 points, and they kill every other unit at that point cost in the game instantaneously. So you run them into everything that's like 140 points or less. That's what you run them into, and they're really, really good at it. Yeah. And they have those scout moves, which is really sick. Mass Brofex says clip. Oh, you bastard. I love you. What about UKTC? You know what, man? Honestly, I'm not gonna talk about UKTC. I just don't have the experience with it. I know of it. Obviously, I've seen it. I've got some people I coach on it, and I can talk to you about how we build. But we don't build so much for the terrain on that. We build. All right. So here's the deal about UKTC. UKTC has amazing staging. And if you've ever watched my videos on staging, you'll know what I mean. Staging is when you are standing behind cover, where you can't be shot, but you can still extend your influence upon your enemy's territory. That's what staging is, okay? And UKTC has better staging than any other map terrain. But it's harder to hold their objectives, and you can draw lines of sight from your opponent's deployment zone into your deployment zone very easily. So that's UKTC terrain. Fast stuff tends to be really good. Mass Bro Effect, they make too much money on WoW and don't want to split the player base. Also, Blizzard as a company is a joke. Dude, I hate Blizzard as a company. I bless you for the super chat, by the way. I really appreciate it. We're gonna have to meet in person, man. I need to meet you in person. Because I need to buy you a beer. But yeah, I agree with you. Blizzard, I hate that company. I don't like that company. I agree. I hate that I love their games, though. I really do love a lot of their games. Mikroslav the Mizmer. If you already answered this, my bad. But orcs are back on the menu, yeah? Crazy buffs out of nowhere. Gaz and the SWAT teams. I don't think they're crazy buffs, but I definitely think they're enough to get the army back in the game. I will be playing around with boys. And if I get my golden stick this weekend, it's possible that that's what I take to Worlds. So, I wonder if Inceptors make a comeback to kill World Eaters. I have a 3-man squad of Plasma Inceptors in my army for this weekend. There's a reason why they're in there, bro. Because we're moving into a meta where you still have to be able to kill tanks, but the pressure on killing tanks is less because knights are less durable. You still got to kill elites because, well, you now have to kill elites because opponents are going to be spamming elites now. And you're going to have to start worrying about hordes. So I think Inceptors, Plasma Inceptors in particular, are going to be making a bit of a comeback. Yeah, man. Totally. I think that's a very reasonable thing to say. Jacob Black has been putting his 20-man Zerker squad in the big ruin in the middle on UKTC and doing well with it. Dude, I believe you. There's so many amazing things that you can do with staging on UKTC terrain. So, like, for whatever people want to say about UKTC, like, oh, it's playing at bowling, blah, 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 it kind of is, but at the same time, they've got better melee staging ruins than pretty much anyone else. So, there's that. What armies am I scared of for my GT? There's a reason why I am playing Dark Angels, guys. I am not scared of any army in the game with my Dark Angels list right now. And due to the fact that we have WTC ruins on GW layouts, and I can get Plunging Fire, Desolation Marines are so good. They solve the one problem that Dark Angels and a lot of Marines armies really have the problem with, and that is you don't trade efficiently. Now I can kill that elf squad, the ranger squad that's on the objective. Boom, sorry, you don't get primary, and I don't have to trade anything for it. Now I can kill that flayed one unit that's behind the ruin, and I don't have to trade anything for it. So that's a big reason why I took it. Then you look at how durable ICC are in Wrath of the Rock, because they're -1 to be hit. They're effectively -1 to be wounded. If you lead with Azrael, which I do, they're 4 invuln and a 4 feel no pain once per game. So everything just becomes so durable, you don't have to worry about trading nearly as much. So I'm not really scared of any army. There's a few players I'm scared of. I used to be scared of Necrons. I'm not anymore, because because now that they've lost their ignore modifiers aura, I'm actually -1 to be wounded. That's a big deal. I will say that killing the 20-man Necron Warriors blob is still kind of concerning for me. But ICC and Azrael kill 20 exactly. So it's like, I'm not that worried, right? Gaz with Boys looking so good. Swole, yeah, dude, Gaz with Boys is freaking awesome. Breaker Boys still the meta for Warhorde. No, I think I'm probably gonna run 1 unit of Breaker Boys, and because I like to bring them out of reserves and give them Eerie Go so they can reroll that charge. So I think I'm down to 1 squad now. Death Guard Hammer has a chance. Nah, I think Death Guard Hammer is dead. Those PVCs just went up too much. And Virulent Victorum and Champions of Contagion are just so freaking strong that I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to nerf yourself anymore. Right. So that's my thoughts on that one. Just Celery has a massive wah. A massive wah. You beautiful. Man, I was gonna curse, but but whatever. I'm not trying to curse at you because I appreciate you giving me money. So yeah, dude, freaking wah on. I am a little sad that I'm not gonna be declaring the wah, but I had too much hobbying, even for me to get done if I was gonna be able to run what I want to run for Warhorde or Bully Boys right now. So I wasn't going to get it done for this weekend. But if I get my ticket, which I am definitely a favored this weekend, then it's very possible I bring them to Worlds. So stay on the lookout for that. Do I think big Death Star blobs will come back again in 10th? It's hard, man. The game's so lethal that Death Star blobs are very tough to run. I will say, if you're running something like Space Wolves, that 10-man Terminator blob for turn 1 Deep Strike that's a death blob, and that's a very, very, very valuable unit. That's a very valuable unit. So it definitely exists. Blow B, that's a hilarious name. It would be great if Warhammer 40k games were more fun to watch, but for me, they're just boring. I've tried to watch tournaments several times. Yeah, you know what? I was talking to Joe from War Games Live about this, and I think out of all the games, he is the best streamer by far, and I think he does make it engaging and fun. I agree with you, but I think some of the stuff that he's done has definitely improved the watchability, and we just need a little bit more money into the game so that we can actually put a little bit more into it, right? And that'll be a lot more fun to watch. So I think there are some people who are trying to solve that problem, but I agree with you. It says melee. I was like, what? So Just Celery, if you're having trouble for beating that big Necron Warrior blob, allow me to paint a picture for you. And also, guys, if you don't mind, I won't remind you again, but if you don't mind, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button here. That lets pushes out there, lets people know that you like this format. So if you are running Gaz and you're leading 20 boys with him, you're going to be hitting that Necron Warrior blob with 80 Choppa attacks, roughly. It might be 76 Choppa attacks that are getting sustained and lethals on 5s. And then you're wounding them on 2s because you're up to strength 5 in the WA and you're wounding them on 2s because Gaz gets +1 to wound. You're hitting that squad with 120 damage 1 attacks before Gaz and the other character you're leading with attacks. You will blow through that squad so easily, it's not even funny. So that's how you win that matchup as melee. Immeasurable Varks. What's the best IK detachment? You know, the Valor Strike, which is the one with all the crazy movement shenanigans, is obviously the one that got all the press. But I will say that the what's it called? The one where they get sustained hits is also very interesting. Guys, I love you all. I appreciate you so much. It's time for me to hop off here. And this was awesome. You guys did enjoy this a little bit, this interaction. So maybe I'll look at doing some more of these little streams like this. Thank you all for your attention. Go ahead and share with all your friends. And I will catch you for the next live stream. So blessings for everyone. Happy Crumpin'. Bye-bye.